Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today and welcome to today's webinar where we introduce to you Ebsta's Revenue Intelligence platform. This is a live session that's scheduled to run for approximately 30 minutes and we will dedicate the last 15 minutes of our time to a Q&A session. All participants will be muted upon entry to avoid any background noise. Please don't be shy. We want you to interact with us as much as possible. So feel free to post any questions you might have during the session in the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. We will answer all questions at the end of the webinar. And if you have any other questions, we will put up a slide at the end of the webinar with contact information for you to submit any additional inquiries. So I'd like to better introduce myself. I'm Eleni and I head up the marketing function here at Ebsta. I come from a background in product marketing, but my core focus here at Ebsta is to really amplify our Ebsta brand, taking new products to market and running marketing campaigns to increase our customer base. I'd now like to hand over to Alex.
As Eleni said, my name is Alex. I'm a solutions engineer here at Ebsta and responsible for heading up our professional services function. I help get our clients onboarded and finding success as quickly as possible. And the main focus of my time is using the reporting options that we have to deliver maximum value to people as they look to optimize their pipeline and how that they're running their business.
Thanks, Alex. So now we'd like to run through our agenda for today's session. We're going to move through this at a pace, but we really want to set the scene around the state of B2B sales, the impact we've seen this year amidst the pandemic, and actually how, with the right tools and insights, we can build the foundations for a really optimistic 2021, where we have a lot more confidence in our pipeline and what is going to take us there to achieve our full potential in revenue growth. A study conducted by McKinsey has recently analyzed thousands of data points through 2020 that influenced the traditional B2B sales process. And that extended across opportunities and how they were managed, the number of interactions going in, and the performance of those interactions in the pipeline. What they've clearly established is that these were the benchmarks that were being seen pre-COVID, which had a negative impact. But in the last 2 to 3 months, they've seen an increase in digital-enabled sales interactions, which resulted in an increase in the average deal values, win rates, sales cycles, etc. At Ebsta, we help our customers to analyze billions of dollars of pipeline. We've done some analysis and we'll be putting together an ebook combining our findings. So if you're interested in getting early access or want me to drop you a copy of this as soon as it's hot off the press, then please drop me an email on eleni.nikolaitis@ebsta.com. I will put up a slide at the end of this webinar with my information. At Ebsta, we have an incredible community of B2B sales leaders, and after talking to them, we found that these were some of their most common challenges. The problem was that sales leaders suddenly experienced immense pressure to revisit their forecasts. Accuracy was essential as all businesses were under a lot of pressure, and on top of that, the dynamic of sales teams changes as everyone transitioned to working remotely. So this meant that sales leaders no longer had the visibility of what was going on, and it was essential. Sales leaders also felt as though they didn't have the right tools to give them the visibility of what was going on or the confidence in their forecast and reporting on their pipeline. And on top of that, they were unable to coach and guide sales reps and predict revenue. And these were some of the consistent themes that were constantly coming up because of that. And this is very much why we at Ebsta took it as our calling to help our customers and other B2B sales leaders to achieve their potential and give them the visibility of what they need through our platform. It's very much around revenue intelligence and having access to the right information at the right time to make better decisions faster and decisions that will affect their revenue. And so you may ask, what is revenue intelligence? In principle, revenue intelligence is about having complete visibility of what's going on and having the insight to all the contributing factors against leads or opportunities, and then having a mechanism to analyze it, develop benchmarks, and then provide insights. And then an easy to use interface which ties it all together so you can get access to this information quicker and easier than anything else. And it serves like a layer that sits on top of your sales and marketing tech stack. And with that being said, seeing is believing, and we'd love to give you a walkthrough of our revenue intelligence platform.
Great, thanks, Eleni. So as promised, we're now going to just give you a walkthrough of our revenue intelligence platform and try and see some of the ways that we're helping sales and revenue and ops leaders to manage their pipeline, to better understand forecasting, and to better make optimal decisions on where to focus resources with live ops. And so to do, I'm just going to talk through what we've got here in this section called Forecast Insights. If you were to start a trial, you would go and click up the top here to get it, or if you're a customer or you're not using Ebsta, you can start a trial and then you can come and see it here. And what we're presenting here in this view is all opportunities that have occurred over the current quarter. So the closed opportunities as well as the open ones in the pipeline. You can of course filter that down. So if you wanted to, in this case, we could go between existing business versus new business. And we could also filter to a user level or even teams if you want to build out teams of different users. So you can use this across multiple departments in your business to help understand and manage the pipeline. So the first thing we're going to focus on is the forecast chart at the top. So that's this line, what's it called, a bar chart, that's the one. And what we see here is a view of our performance over the quarter. And what we're using is the Salesforce stage-based forecasting categories of best or open pipeline and best case, commit, and then obviously close or close one, to see how our performance has been changing over the quarter. And the key thing here that we get to see that is very hard to see in Salesforce is we can get to see that change and that transition and understand pacing, and come to know if we're going to much more likely to close fast because we'll do a lot more business at the end of a month or a quarter or whatever it might be. But in Salesforce, as it's a point in time system, we can see the state of play today, but it can be hard to know what the state of play was, a week ago or a couple of weeks ago, and how it might be changing. So anyway, in this case, what we can see is we've got a quota set of 1.4 million, which is this line across the top. And we then split that by month to be just under, 500,000 a month, which gives us our pacing line, and that zigzags there across the screen. And we can see that last week, in week 6 of our quarter, we had a total of 1.7 million that had close dates for this quarter, of which we had closed 235,000 of it, and we had a number of the rest of it sitting in more advanced or later stages. And so we can start to analyze our pipeline here and see that we were very slow to close any business. We had a very slow start to the quarter, and in fact we had far too much stuff that was in open pipeline. Probably our reps have been focusing on closing last quarter at the expense of this one. And so when we hit the end of the first month, we were only about halfway towards our pacing target, and so we've got some serious makeup to do. The good news is we do have enough stuff in the pipeline to theoretically hit our quota. But of course, things closing lost and any slippage into next quarter means at the moment we look likely that we're not going to hit our targets this quarter. So we're going to need to make some adjustments. So that's here. And what we can see as well at the top is just here the number changes over the last 7 days. So we can see that over the last week, we closed an additional 33K of business. And so we can understand again that transition. And we can again see from this that we're going to need to go out and find some more business to fill the pipeline and really focus on advancing a lot of the stuff in the open pipeline very early on in the process to get that into the later stages, to get us any chance of getting close to our quota this time. So while this focuses on the total revenue side, this next chart, this bubble chart, is really focusing on live open pipeline. So understanding what we need to do to make sure that next week the graph is looking better up here. And here we get a view with across the x-axis at the bottom, we've got the dates, the close dates for this quarter. So you can see our quarter runs from November to the end of January. And here are all the opportunities we've got open. And then on the y-axis, we've got the Ebsta engagement score. Now, if you've not come across our engagement score before, it is a measure of how engaged we are, surprisingly or not, with in this case, the opportunity. So the deal that's on the table. And the way to look at it, it's a bit like, you know, at the moment you might be looking at activities and all sorts of different activities, and you understand some of them are more important than others, but it can be hard to get a consensus view. And while we do believe that activity correlates to revenue, we believe that engagement or relationship is a stronger correlation. It's closer to that positive revenue outcome. And so the engagement score is highly weighted towards incoming activity that shows engagement, as opposed to just our reps diligently sending out lots of material. So we've got the close date on the x-axis and the engagement score on the y-axis. And then these bubbles, as you can see, are different sizes. Because this one here, this deal with Credit Suisse is a big deal for us, $200,000, versus this deal here for only only $2,500. So one deal, obviously a lot bigger, and therefore, as we're managing our pipeline, we can easily see visually which are the key deals we want to focus on. And all this information is then shown below here in this table, so that we can understand, we can deep dive into the detail. And we can see things like, you know, the number of relationships, how many people at our business have a relationship on this opportunity, you know, taking part effectively. How long has it been in the stage, and how much activity has there been over the last 7 days? And the kind of the key way to use this is what we're trying to understand is how are things progressing this quarter. And we can see here that here's today, and therefore all the opportunities to the left of this line, their close date is in the past. So you can see we've got a serious problem with our pipeline staying in date. And obviously reps are really bad at updating those close dates, and there's a lot of things sitting here that that obviously haven't come in on time, and therefore we don't know if really our expectation should be that they're actually closed lost or they've been pushed to next quarter. All these ones down here have really low engagement, and likely shows us that these essentially are closed lost, but they haven't been pushed there. And therefore, in a meeting with a rep, we might really want to ask them, what's the plan here? Is this really a done deal? If so, you need to get it out of your pipeline and find something else, because these don't look like they're going anywhere. There's very little engagement. And whereas these ones have quite good engagement, and it just looks like something has slipped for whatever reason, but we really need to know an accurate, or, you know, at least a good guess from the rep when it's going to come in, because we can say for sure it's not coming in the past if the deal's not been signed. Then we've got this line that we draw across here horizontally, which gives us our average engagement score. So this is taken from last quarter, and it was the average score of closed won deals. So basically, it's our benchmark. We know that on average, anything above this line, we're going to close as won, and everything below the line, we're going to close as lost. So this is our benchmark and what we wanted to see things above. So broadly speaking, without diving in, we can see these opportunities up here on a good shape due to engagement, that we're well engaged, and there's a good chance that they should progress positively and therefore close off a one. Whereas these opportunities are very low, there's almost no engagement, and there's a real question about what's going on. But this one here is a little bit more in the middle, and I can click on it and bring up, we'll see here the last 10 activities. And if I wanted to do a deep dive, I could click on one and see what it was about, you know, what's going on here, and dive into some of the detail. But this might be the opportunity we want to focus on to make the biggest difference to our numbers this quarter. We could probably assume that these ones aren't really going anywhere, but this is the one that we can boost engagement by getting the manager involved or coming up with an action plan, and we could potentially close this when it would otherwise close lost, or certainly wasn't going to close this quarter. Now, in our demo org, we don't have a whole lot of stuff sitting, you know, a whole lot of opportunities sitting here, so it's quite easy to see. But obviously, a lot of you will be in much bigger businesses, and you know, reps will be having maybe even 100 different opportunities in their name, and then obviously that just multiplies by the number of reps. And again, if you've got, you know, renewal opportunities, it can get very large very quickly. So not only can we filter it, as I showed at the top, by opportunity type and the users or teams, but we've got some dynamic filters to help you understand things you want to prioritize on. The first one here is around trends. And again, as I said before, Salesforce is a point-in-time system. It's hard to know what's changing and to see how things are moving. So one of the things we do here, as you might have noticed, is the coloring. So if something's moved positively in the last 7 days, we color it in green. So for example, this deal with Morgan Stanley, we can see that the amount has gone up in the last 7 days. So it's now £190,000. It was less than that in the past, so it's moved up. So that's a great sign. It has, though, moved backwards in stage. So it's now in the value proposition stage, and let's just call this stage 2. It was presumably in stage 3 or 4, and it's been moved backwards. So it's good to get to understand how that's going. And if I was to click here, this would filter me to all the ones that have trended positively in some way in the last 7 days. And so I can see those here. And likewise here, I can click on all the ones that will show me the ones in red, and these are the ones that have moved backwards. And so again, in this case, this demo services one, this has moved backwards in all 3 key things in amount, in the close date and stage. So this is definitely something we want to take a look at, because this is some serious slippage here and a real chance to make a difference. Worth saying again, just to be clear, that it's red is bad, it's moved in the wrong direction, and green means it's moved in the right direction. So for a close date, actually, the bigger it gets, it's the further out in time it's going to be. That's a bad thing. So that goes red because it used to be predicted to close earlier than the 17th. And therefore, if it's in green, it means it's come in and it's got smaller. So alongside helping you see those trends, so you can understand movement, we've got a number of other things to help you prioritize. So up here, we can see ones where they've got no future tasks or meetings. So if we click here, we're going to start to wonder, well, what's going on with some of these opportunities? Do we have a plan for where we're taking them if we've got nothing booked in the future? We've also got here ones that have spent too long in their current stage. So we can tell you the average time in stage, which you can see again up here. We've got some performance numbers, and we're comparing these quarter on quarter. So you can see what they are: the win rate, deal size, cycle, and then stage duration. So, we see the average stage duration is currently 14 days, which has come down 23% from last quarter when it was 18 days. And therefore, anything that's been in stage for more than 14 days has to some extent stalled. Or at least we want to check, has it stalled? It's taking longer than average. So we can see those deals. We can also see the deals that have less relationships than the average. So again, our average relationships have gone up. There's normally 2 people involved in a deal. And we can see ones where there's only 1 or potentially no one who's got a good relationship on our side on there. So we can understand what's going on and make sure someone is driving that deal. We can highlight the opportunities that are past their close date just by clicking here, and you can see we've moved, and now today's over here, so that's changed. So relatively easy to see that already, as well as ones with low engagement, so all the ones below this line. And then finally, ones which have had no activity in the last 14 days. So again, they really, what's going on, because Ebsta can help you log all of these activities automatically, so that all calendar events and emails are automatically pulled in. There becomes a real question about what's going on if we're showing nothing here. Worth saying, we can also then add some extra filters here. If again, if you've got a big pipeline to manage, you want to get specific, so we could click here and we could start to filter this down by specific stages, so that we focus on, maybe we only want to focus on ones in these sort of last 4 stages, as well as we could change the close dates, and we could start to filter out on amounts. Maybe we want to say, well, we've got a lot of small deals we're not bothered about, so let's set a threshold for that to $50,000, for example, and look above it. So that is a sort of relatively quick whistle-stop tour of how this works, and all the functionality that you can get with Ebsta. So just as a quick summary, be helpful at the top, we've got a view of your performance, so you can understand how your forecast has changed week on week for the quarter, and so you can get an accurate idea of where you're likely to land, on where you need to make a difference, where there are gaps in your pipeline. Then below that, we've got this bubble chart to help you manage the current open pipeline, to see where there are risk factors in various deals, to take action, to figure out, again, for management, where they can better spend their time. We give you the detail of that in the table below, which also gets we can be colored by trends, so you understand where things are moving positively and negatively. Again, if you click on one here, either in the table here or the bubble, it will take you to this bit here, and it will show you those last 10 activities as well as the total activity, so you can get a really quick understanding of where things are going. And then worth saying, if you want to then go and dive deeper further into Salesforce, just by clicking this link, that will take you into Salesforce, and you can see that deal there. Cool. So worth saying again, as I said before, you can start a free trial of this anytime just by going to our website, www.ebsta.com. and in the top right saying start trial. And you can do that as a customer, or if you're not currently an Ebsta customer, and you can see what this is about. We can process it using your data for 14 days. So that's all from me. I'm going to switch back to Eleni, and then we're going to take some questions.
Thanks, Alex. So we've had a couple of questions come through. One of the questions that we have is, what version of Salesforce is required?
Great, thanks, Eleni. So our solution uses the bulk API, and that is included with Salesforce Enterprise and Unlimited, so anything above Enterprise. You can also add it separately on a package if you've got a lower package, but we do need the bulk API to run the reporting, so that'll be the key thing there.
I've just randomly picked another question. What package is this part of on your website?
Good question. So yes, if you go to the website, you can see we've got 3 different packages. And you can go to a pricing page. There's standard, professional, and ultimate. Standard gives you a view of all your activity inside Salesforce. And professional includes the reports that we've looked at here, the forecast insights. It also includes some other reports and pieces we've got built into the console. And this is the package that covers everything we've seen today. And then we have an ultimate package, and that allows us to write all the data points that we store and we hold, and we can write them back into Salesforce to help with bespoke reporting there.
What objects does it support?
Good question. So professional has been built out around the opportunity object, and working from a standard sort of Salesforce use case of using opportunities and assuming that's your pipeline. So anything that's opportunity based is covered. If you were to get so we're saying with professional comes all the stuff you get with standard. If you were to get standard or ultimate and put bits into Salesforce, either the reporting side with ultimate or just the Visualforce page where you can see everything that's going on in all the packages, then that works with any object. So that works with accounts, contacts, leads, and opportunities. Any custom object you may have, if you're using a different version of Salesforce, maybe a recruitment version, or any of those different options, then we'll work with their objects as well, and that's all supported. But for professional, it's working on the opportunity object. So if you're not using opportunities to manage your pipeline, then this wouldn't be the right package for you.
I'm just conscious of time, so I'm going to pick one last question. And then we can wrap it up from there. So how do you get up and running with this product?
Yeah, good question. So as I said, it's fairly easy. I'll just flip back here, and you can just go to our website, www.ebsta.com. And we've got here this button that says try for free. What's up also here. So actually mention just so that we've got to mention the pricing before. So here our standard. So we're talking about the professional plan here. But yeah, if you just click try for free, then you can sign up your connect with Salesforce, and then it's a very quick process from there. We will process the data within a few hours, depending on how many mailboxes get added. And so you'll then soon be able to see your pipeline and see very much the same view that we have here.
Okay, thanks, Alex. So if you have any other questions, feel free to get in touch with us. If you are an existing customer, then please get in touch with your dedicated customer success manager. If you are not a customer, but you are interested in getting started with the Revenue Intelligence platform, then feel free to visit our website, and you'll be able to trial our product for 14 days free of charge. So thank you again, everyone, for joining today's session. Have a great day, and we'll be in touch. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.